All rise. Hear ye, hear ye. Hamblen County Commission meeting is now in session. The Honorable Chris Cutshaw presiding, and please remain standing.
Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Hamblen County Legislative Body meeting to order, this regularly scheduled monthly meeting for Thursday, May the 18th. At this time, I'd like to call on Commissioner Long to lead us in prayer, and as you do so, please remember Commissioner Neesmith that's not here with us tonight. Also, Commissioner Huntsman's not with us. If you could just remember those, please.
Let's pray. Father, we just thank you for your love and your mercy and your grace that you've given us. Lord, Father, in the gift of your Son. Father, as we come tonight, we ask that you lift Mr. Neesmith, Mr. Huntsman up. Father, be with them and their families. Lord, Father, be with this commission tonight. Give us wisdom, understanding. And Lord, Father, may we bring to Hamblen County, Lord, Father, a brighter future, and only bring it with your will, Father. Watch over every employee in this county and every one that lives in this county, Lord, Father. We've been blessed. You've blessed us with a great county. And we just lift all these things up in your precious and holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Hong, would you please lead us in the allegiance?
Salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let's call the roll, please. That screen a little bit. Okay, we do have a quorum with 12 present. Before we get started, Commissioner Walker, could you help me with the sign-in sheet, please?
Yes.
Oh, sorry. Sorry about that.
Okay, we'll get started here. We do not have any recognitions, presentations, or proclamations. We'll move now to our public comment time. And the first item on that agenda is regarding general non-agenda items. And Ms. Noy, you are recognized.
Linda Noe, 2343 Joe Stevens Road. The non-agenda item I would like to talk about is the WIT utility. I'm sure a number of you read, well, I assume a number of you read the newspaper yesterday and the headlines, and we have another utility, much as we had with the Solid Waste Board years ago, where there is no oversight or not adequate oversight, and money is missing, no bid contracts, and other items. What I would like to mention in particular in regard to the lack of oversight is the issue of nepotism. You may have noticed that the two gentlemen were named Benjamin Harris, and I believe it was Jonathan Harris. If you also look back, you'll see that WIT Utility before Benjamin and Jonathan was headed for over 25 years by Tommy Harris. whether there's a connection or not, this is where nepotism rears its ugly head, and it certainly raises questions. While the county doesn't control what WIT Utility does, you do control what the county does. So I think this would be the perfect time to institute a uniform nepotism policy for the county that all office holders can sign on to, or can at least be encouraged to sign on to, each department head or each elected official. If they don't want to sign on to a uniform policy that applies to all, they could be encouraged to establish their own nepotism policy for the sheriff's office or the planning department or the county clerk. But it's time to take care of nepotism. It's been mentioned before, nothing done. Now it should be addressed. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. During this time of general and non-agenda items, is there anyone else that's present that would like to address this commission? It's not signed in. Seeing none, let's move now to public comment regarding agenda items. And the first name on that list, Mr. Pellegrin, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I just have a question, not a question, statement we brought in, May the 8th, about the bulk waste, about notification to the county. And I know we talked about doing the radio and doing the newspaper. Why we can't just do another brochure like we did, like they had for the recycling program, or like they had April 1st for the recycle, people can bring recycles to the landfill. Because I, for one, don't listen to the radio. I don't get the newspaper, nor do I do social media. So if I don't come to the meeting, I wouldn't have known. But I just like to suggest why I'm going to do the same thing for the bulk waste. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your comments. Next, Ms. Noy, you're recognized.
Again, Linda Noe, 2343 Joe Stevens Road. I would like to echo the gentleman who just spoke. Newspaper readership is way down, or I should say subscriptions. People don't know what's going on. They should, but they don't. We just have to face that. And something that he mentioned would be fine, as well as I think the simplest thing would be putting it on trash cans, because just as far as I know, just about everybody has a trash can. And let them know in that way. But you're going to have to get the message out. It's not fair to start citing people in August or whenever when they don't know. And there hasn't been a full-blown effort to get the information out. As he said, you can look here, very few people will know what happened, what vote was taken, and what the decision was. It's reported in the paper. Very few people read the paper. And where are they going to find out except by the actual delivery to their home on the trash can? And I won't say another method of delivery that could be used because I just won't go there. But let people know what's going on in the most efficient way, even if it were a mailer, a postcard, because those are fairly cheap, not totally cheap, but you could get the word out to everybody with a mailer like that. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. That's all that is signed up on our public comments for agenda items. Is there anyone else in attendance that would like to speak to our commission? Okay, seeing none, we will have no nominations tonight. We'll move straight to number 4, County Rules Committee Chairman Thomas Doty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have item 4A, which is the approval of the consent calendar items. Please note that item 5 contains specific checks requested by Commissioner Green to be removed for specific overview that would have been considered in this, but I put the approval of consent calendar items with these removed in the form of a motion.
Thank you, sir. We do have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Is there any discussion on the approval of the consent calendar items? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Twelve yeas, 0 nays.
That motion passes.
Item 4B is the regular calendar items. We have one change. During the committee meeting, we inadvertently, at the end of the meeting, we added the noise ordinance into item 7E, which is the public hearing over the stormwater resolutions. That item 7E in your booklet has been moved to item 11A, which is a statement of understanding of the noise ordinance. With that item moved, I put the approval of the regular calendar items in the form of a motion.
Thank you. We have a motion. We do have a second. Is there any discussion? Is everybody clear on what happened?
Chairman Cutshop, or Chairman Doty.
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am. You address the chair at this.
I'm sorry, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Quick question. I had a question you beforehand, and you did not get back to me.
I'm sorry that we can take that up in the next item.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. I'm sorry, I did not. My bad. Is anyone else? Let's vote this motion, please.
Twelve yeas, 0 nays.
And that motion passes.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. We will now move into items removed for consent calendar. Item 5, Commissioner Green had requested these items for further discussion. Commissioner Green?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
ones that I would like to have further explanation, if the mayor or Mr. Amanda, well, if the honorable mayor doesn't care, would be the one for Anderson Busby, PLLC. I hope I pronounced that correctly. And I do appreciate Miss Amanda sending all the invoices out. That was gracious of you, and I appreciate it, ma'am. But I'd like further explanation of that. I noticed that it notes a meeting on 2/8/23. It would be very helpful if we had a brief summary of what that was, being that it was supposed to deal with change order 10.
Amanda, Ms. Hale, would you care to address that? What information you have?
I don't know the details of that meeting, other than what was on this document.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, ma'am.
could the mayor answer that question, please? Being my understanding he was in that meeting. Please.
I don't know if he's reviewed it.
This was a meeting that was held by telephone to discuss an issue that is being negotiated between the architect, the contractor, and our project manager. And so we wanted to get her opinion on this subject before it went any further in the negotiations.
Could you please, sir, give us a brief summary of what she told you could do? Could you possibly do it in an executive meeting so we would all be on the same page, sir?
We could, yes.
Would you consider that, sir?
Well, Ms. Anderson has had hip replacement surgery. So she's out of commission for a couple of months.
Well, could you call us an executive session and enlighten the rest of us, please?
I don't know if that would be proper because there wouldn't be any legal representation there.
Did she talk like she thought she could work it out? Because I remember that discussion, and if I remember correctly, it was the connectors and so forth. And I know we asked several questions about it.
There-
I hope I'm right.
There's still some negotiations to be done.
Does it look like that they will
Still
take?
some negotiations to be done. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you for the response, sir.
Commissioner Green, anything else?
One more. I also asked them to pull the bill for, hold on, and let me see which one it is. It's the last one, the 4/27/2023, for Roger Yunt's Body Shop. Would just like to know, with the damage on both sides of that vehicle and the tailgate, Miss Amanda Hale said there was no wreck, so what caused it? That's quite a bit of damage for just everyday usage.
I can't answer that personally, Amanda.
And I don't, all I can tell you is there was not an accident. There was not a police report, there was, as far as the purchase requisition we received, it just says repairs to F-250. As far as what caused the damages, or if it was, just wear and tear on the vehicle, I don't know that. We would have to ask her for that.
Okay.
And we can do that if you like us to.
That would be most appreciative.
He took it into Roger Young's Body Shop because there was rust developing on the underside of it. And it was originally for $800 to do the one side. When they were doing the work, they found it on the other side. And so they charged him for that. I don't know how bad it was. I didn't see it, but it was for some rust that was developing on the underneath.
Thank you for the explanation.
Thank you, ma'am.
One more question, Chairman, please.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. My next question is in regard to, and let me pass these out to you, please, be further explained. And if you have extras, if you don't care when they get to you, Mr. Reed, if you would give them, let them pass out over there, I would greatly appreciate it, please, sir. This is for, uh-oh. Thank you, sir. I'll wait till you all get them. This refers back to a vote that was done on 10/21/21, asking for a declaratory judgment in regard to taking folks out for the safety of county commission. I would like to, Jens voted for this in full commission. I would like to see this pushed through for the safety of Hamblen County and something done about it. You put it on the books. It needs to be completed. And as I understand, and you please correct me, gentlemen and ladies, if I'm wrong, you voted to do it. The county attorney needs to take care of it. And if there's a reason it can't be taken care of, I would love to hear an explanation.
We should have taken this up in work session. You're asking for questions tonight that we're probably not, I remember this, but I'm not. So you're asking, is this being enforced? Is that what you're asking? I'm confused at your
As
question.
my understanding, it was never sent through the courts for declaratory judgment.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman, this has nothing to do
Yes,
with
I'm-
moving from the consent calendar.
I do agree, Commissioner Long, but I have allowed her to do this. She asked me prior to this meeting to ask this question, so I do agree that it is not on our calendar. We're allowing it at this moment. So, did we get a declaratory judgment is your question, correct?
Yes. And if we did not, why did we not? Being this commission voted for that.
I think that, well, what I think doesn't matter. I'll tell you what, we'll put this under advisement, and we'll just have to get back to you on that one.
Well, can we at least look forward to seeing it in the next committee meeting, sir?
I do not know that yet. We'll have to dig into that and see what the entities say. I don't recall. I do remember this vaguely, but I don't have an answer for you.
May I ask one more question, sir? Mr. Chairman, which one of you? When you speak of entity, who is that?
Well, it says here, the Hamblen County Sheriff's Department, and I suppose that we would have to talk with them to see what that means. I don't know that a declaratory judgment is needed, that it's already in place, is what I think. But what I think doesn't matter. I need to figure it out. Okay? I think we already have this in place without a judgment. And at the time, it was just the circumstance of the day that this came out. So I don't know why we're digging up some old bones like this, but here we are. I will try to get an answer for you.
It would be very much appreciated.
Yes, ma'am. Is that enough?
One more question. If it's on the books, sir, it either needs to be took off or it needs to be done.
Well,
It's just good business practice.
Commissioner Green,
Yes, sir.
we currently have that on the books where the sheriff can, or anybody in that will, remove somebody for being disruptive.
Yes, sir, but our rules and the rules of the law are two different categories, sir.
Well, again, we'll just take this up once we get advisement on this. I need to study this before we can discuss it deeply.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. Are you clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right, folks. Now, back to item 5, items removed from consent calendar. We had several that were removed. I think we ought to take a motion to add these back to our consent calendar. Is there a motion?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. And we have a second by Commissioner Long. Is there any discussion? All right, the vote is off the board that we place these items, check items, back to our consent calendar. Is everybody clear? Let's vote this motion, please.
Debbie Ahern,
Yes.
Chris Cutshaw,
Yes.
Thomas Doty,
Yes.
Edna Green,
Yes.
Stan Harville,
Yes.
Bobby Hahn,
Yes.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
Peggy Howell,
Yes.
Rodney Long,
Yes.
Mike Reed, Mike Richardson,
Yes.
Kyle Walker.
Yes.
It's unanimous, 12.
Thank you. The motion passes. We'll now move to item 6.
We need to have it approved now that we moved those back. Do we need to go back and reapprove?
We can, Thomas.
I don't know if we need to or not. That's
Well, our next item is the consent calendar. I
Yeah.
think we can move forward. Okay.
Great.
Thank you, sir. So item 6, I need a motion to accept the consent calendar as it is presented now.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir.
Second.
And we do have a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote this motion.
Yea, 0 nay.
And that motion passes. We will now recess as a Hamblen County Legislative Body and open up for a public hearing regarding 7A Resolution 2322, the resolution to amend the stormwater illicit discharge and illegal connections regulations of Hamblen County, Tennessee, with corrected cost of abatement of the violation of civil penalty fines. Resolution 2323, the resolution to adopt the Hamblen County Stormwater Enforcement Response Plan. Resolution 2324, resolution to amend the Stormwater Quality Buffer Zone regulations of Hamblen County, Tennessee. And item D, resolution 2325, the resolution to amend the stormwater erosion and sediment control regulations of Hamblen County, Tennessee. Is there anyone in attendance that would like to address this commission at this hearing? Yes, ma'am.
This is to do with stormwater, like stuff that's going into the creek springs and things that
Yes,
shouldn't be
ma'am.
going in there.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, my name is Gwen Holden, and I live at 8150 West Point Drive. I'm a strong advocate for this because I don't think we should be polluting, because the Bible says we're to be good stewards of the land. And if you get rid of pollution, you're going to have to clean up Road Junction.
Is there anyone else that would like to address the commission on this public hearing for the stormwater? Seeing none, we will now reconvene. We'll close that public hearing and reconvene as our Hamblen County Legislative Body, taking up item number 8A, Resolution 2322, the resolution to amend the stormwater illicit discharge and illegal connection regulations of Hamblen County, Tennessee, with corrected costs of abatement of the violation of civil penalty fines. Do we have a motion?
So move.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Oh, hold on. Excuse me? There we go, yeah. There we go, second. And is there any discussion on this resolution? Seeing none, let's vote this resolution. That resolution passes. Item 8B, Resolution 2323, resolution to adopt the Hamblen County Stormwater Enforcement Response Plan. Do we have a motion?
So move, Mr. Chairman.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? And we do have a second. Is there any discussion on this resolution? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please. This resolution passes. Resolution 2324, resolution to amend the stormwater quality buffer zone regulations of Hamblen County, Tennessee. Do we have a motion?
So move.
Thank you, sir. And is there a second? That was Tim Horner. Mr. Long has seconded. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
12 yeas, 0 nays.
And that resolution passes. Now move to 8D, Resolution 2325, the resolution to amend the stormwater erosion and sediment control regulations of Hamblen County, Tennessee. Do we have a motion?
Motion.
Ms. Ahern has motioned, and we have a second with Mr. Harville. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote this resolution. That resolution passes. We'll now move to our number 9, Finance Committee. Chairman Hahn, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 9A, TCRS employer contribution rate. Put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion. We do have a second. Is there any discussion on the TCRS employer contribution rate? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
12 yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Item 9B, pharmaceutical agreement between A&A Services LLC doing business as Save RX Prescription Services and Hamblen County Government, and I make that motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
Yea, 1 nay.
And that motion passes.
Item 9C, revised May 2023 contract for Selwyn County, Selwyn County and Emergency Communications District, and I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
12 yeas, 0 nays.
That motion passes.
Item 9D, Resolution 2326, resolution authorizing the 2023-2024 litter grant application, and I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Item 9E, Resolution 2327, resolution authorizing the 2024 bulletproof vest grant application. I make that motion.
We have a motion. We have a second. Any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Yeas, 0 nays.
And that motion passes.
Item 9F, pay increase for highway commissioners. I make that motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We do have a second. Is there any discussion on this motion? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Yeas, 1 nay.
And that motion passes.
Item 9G1, Hamblen County Board of Education, Budget Amendment Number 7, increase of $4 million. I make that motion.
We have a motion, and we do have a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote this motion.
Yeas, 0 nays.
And that motion passes.
Item 9G2, Hamblen County Board of Education, Amendment Number 8, an increase of $1,226,307.70. I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Yeas, 1 nay.
That motion passes.
Item 9G3, Fund 101, General Debt Service Fund, $185,253, and I make that motion.
We have a motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
Yeas, 0 nays.
Motion passes.
Item 9G4, Fund 101, Public Safety, $18,131. I make that motion.
We have a motion, and we do have a second. Is there any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
yeas, 0 nays.
The motion passes.
Item 9G5, Fund 131, Board and Committee Member Fees, $700. I make that motion.
We have a motion, and we have a second. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, let's vote the motion, please.
12 yeas, 0 nays.
And that motion passes.
That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Commissioner Hahn. We'll now move to item 10, Bulk Waste Committee. Chairman Horner of that committee, you are recognized, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item 10A, discontinue county pickup of construction waste for residential properties effective August 1st, 2023, and I put that in form of a motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We do have a second. Is there any discussion on this item?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
we make the effective date September 1st, just to give us more time to do a public awareness campaign and make people, as many people as possible, aware of the new regulation. A request on both item A and B.
Okay, we have a request from the mayor. Commissioner Howell, go ahead.
Well, I kind of liked Ms. Noe's idea and Dan's idea about the brochure, and I didn't realize how many don't get a newspaper or don't, I'm not a radio, but anyhow, we do need to get the information out, and maybe that brochure and putting it on getting a sticker and sticking it on the galley, that, I don't know how the garbage. Well, anyway, we need to do something. We have now maybe possibly 90 days, and it'll take every bit of that. And I guess starting in some solid waste meetings and all of that, it's gonna, with brush trucks and everything, it's gonna take a lot to change that in 90 days. So I hope we get on it. Thank you, sir.
All right. Commissioner Green, I do, 1 second. Chairman Horner of this committee, could you repeat some of the discussion we had about public awareness and what we intend to do? Could you just enlighten everyone real quick about some of the ideas that we'd already discussed?
We're going to get with a marketing person and blitz the county. When marketing is what they do, and they would know better than some of us how to get the word out, because that's what they do all the time. So that's the strategy moving forward.
Okay.
Commissioner Green.
Chairman Cutshaw.
Yes, ma'am.
First of all, I have had more than one complaint this week from citizens that they could not hear us. So please, adjust your microphone so they can hear you. They want to hear what we've got to say, and I think it's important that we oblige that. I am like Commissioner Howe. I think there should be a way to notify them. I hear the complaint often. I don't take the paper anymore. I have no way of keeping up with it. I'm not techie. I don't go on the computer. We need a way of notifying all citizens. They don't need to be surprised. They get enough surprises in their taxes. Thank you, sir.
Commissioner Harville.
Mr. Chairman, I think it's obvious that one way is not going to reach everybody.
You're right.
You know, like I like the idea of the marketing campaign, or at least marketing people, because they know you've got to use brochures, you've got to use letters. I like the idea of a sticky note on the garbage containers, but there's going to have to be more than 2 or 3 ways that this information gets out. Because, like I said, so many people don't take paper, different things, but we can get that out there, and word of mouth will help us as much as anything once that does get out there. Thank you.
Amen, sir.
Okay, let's take up the mayor's suggestion. Is there a motion that we,
I'll make that motion, Chairman. You got
wait a minute, oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Howell.
Oh, well.
Commissioner Howell, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir, thank you. I just wanted to say, yes, I think it's going to take all of that to get that information out there, and marketing as well. Plus, if we had a, I don't know, maybe a 90-day, okay, you messed up. Now, by golly, by December, these notices are going out. So maybe we had some grace period, I guess, first time. But just a thought. But thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anyone else to speak? So we need to take up the mayor's suggestion of September the 1st. Do we have a motion to amend?
I'll make that motion.
All right, we have Kyle Walker to motion that we move the date from August 1st to September the 1st. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thomas Doty has seconded that. Is there any discussion on moving of the date? Seeing none, let's vote this amendment, please. Off the board.
Debbie Ahern,
Yes.
Chris Cutshaw,
Yes.
Thomas Doty,
Yes.
Edna Green,
Yes.
Stan Harble,
Yes.
Bobby Hahn,
Yes.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
Peggy Howe,
Yes.
Rodney Long,
Yes.
Mike Reed,
Yes.
Mike Richardson,
Yes.
Kyle Walker.
Yes.
12 yeas.
Okay, that motion to amend A has passed, so we will now, let's everyone follow along. On item 10A, we already have a motion and a second. We have amended that motion to change the effective date from August the 1st to September the 1st. Now, let's vote this motion on the board.
Yeas, 0 nay.
And that motion passes. Chairman Horner.
Item 10B, to discontinue county pickup of trash, brush, bulk waste if not separated. And we want to go ahead and change that effective September the 1st,
Well, we will
Well-
need to amend that. Let's go ahead with this. Take a motion in a second.
August the 1st, 2023. I put that in form of a motion.
We need all right, we have a motion, we do have a second, and now let's take up discussion on this item.
I motion to amend to change the effective date to September 1st, 2023.
Second.
We have a second. Commissioner Long? Yes, Mr. Harville.
I think we also need to, Mr. Chairman, look at how we're looking at this. Trash, this almost makes it like we're encouraging them to take trash out just to the roadside and put it out. I think we need to make sure they understand that all trash needs to be bagged, put in the container if at all possible, but not be mixed in with all of this.
Commissioner
what
Harville,
we're
could
getting
I
at.
ask you that you hold that 1 second? Let's vote
Sure.
this first amendment, add
Certainly.
it to the original, and then we'll come back to that.
Certainly.
Is there any other discussion on September 1st being added to item 10B? Seeing none, let's vote this amendment off the board, please.
Debbie Ahern,
Yes.
Chris Cutshaw,
Yes?
Thomas Doty,
Yes.
Edna Green,
Yes.
Stan Harble,
Yes.
Bobby Hahn,
Yes.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
Peggy Howe,
Yes.
Rodney Long,
Yes.
Mike Reed,
Yes.
Mike Richardson,
Yes.
Kyle Walker.
Yes.
12.
Okay, that amendment will be added to 10B to change that date from August 1st to September 1st. Commissioner Harville, could you please go with that again?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Again, just as clarification, that all trash needs to be bagged. It should not be put out individually and mixed with other items here, because that's the whole idea behind this, of making sure that we have trash, that's your can, and bagged items, then brush one place, bulk one place.
Okay. We have a motion to amend by Commissioner Harville. We need a second before we take up discussion. Is there a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, Commissioner Doty has seconded Commissioner Harville's amendment. We'll clean that up in just a moment. Commissioner Walker?
Should we take the word trash out of that and just say, where we say, road at the curb should be bulk waste or brush only? I mean, if we do that, we take the word household trash or trash, that eliminates that whole problem.
Eliminates that issue.
Because household trash should be in our trash cans.
Okay,
When we leave the word trash out there, we're leaving that interpretation to what is considered trash. I mean,
okay. We'll hold that thought, and we may ask Commissioner Harville to amend his amendment or accept it. So we'll clean that up in just a moment. Is there any other discussion in this item? Yes, Commissioner Howell.
Yes, thank you. So the brushes, you know, in the fall, we'll have all those leaves, and people do bag them. So the leaves are going with the sticks and branches, right? So what are we saying about bulk? So we're saying, hey, we'll still pick it up Are we saying, don't even think about it? If it is, if you have your leaves and your sticks, and then you've got a couch, what are we saying about the couch?
That would be separated.
Yeah, I got it.
That's the
It's
point.
just separate.
Yeah, so
Still
that
picked up.
it's still picked up?
Yes.
My understanding, yes.
Oh,
Just
okay.
by maybe a different truck. 'Cause the
Oh, I got
the
that,
brush
yeah.
truck would take it to the burn pit.
Yeah.
And the trash truck would, or the bulk
Bulk
waste.
Okay.
The issue has been a couch there and then
All the leaf bags on top.
branches on top of that, you know.
Seen it, yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bulk waste will continue. Bulk waste pickup is to continue. It's just asking it to be separated, brush and bulk waste. Commissioner Walker.
I think, Peggy, what they're trying to say, and I get your ideal, bulk waste should be the household items that will not fit in your garbage can, such as a couch, a chair, if you've got a broken fan that you can't put in your bulk waste. That should be considered the bulk waste that's to the side, not in your pile of leaves where we can take it to the landfill. What we're talking about is, we have a lot of people that are not only putting brush and a
Oh,
couch out there,
yeah.
they're throwing 2 or 3 bags of household trash on top of it because they don't want to get a second garbage can. So it's easier to set it at the curb because we'll pick it up. And the problem that we're having is your neighbor's dog gets into it, drags it apart, the debris is going also. But also, when we get back to stormwater, the rain and then all this stuff is just running
Absolutely.
right down our streets into our stormwater. That's why we're saying household trash should be in a garbage bin, not in a pile. And that's where we're kind of getting off of it. If you look at a lot of the places we've looked, because I've looked around when we start talking about this. We have people throwing clothes in the bulk waste, cans, all kinds of different stuff in there. It's not just household trash. It's just, we're just throwing whatever we want to. There's, you know, down the road from me, I seen a woman that had a big thing of medicine needles thrown in her bulk waste. I mean, that's not really considered bulk waste. You know, so we've got to define what bulk waste is. And people that, you know, we don't want to do away with it. And this is the only way we can not do away with it, is have a rules that this is what we're going to pick up, but it should be separated. If that means you got to make 2 piles in your front yard, 2 piles. But we know in the fall, like you said, with the bag of leaves, we all know if there's 20 black bags out in your front yard, more than likely that's leaves. If you got 20 bags of trash in your front yard, we kind of know there's something going on other than that situation. So we know, I think, in the fall that trees are a big thing.
Okay.
Yes, Commissioner Howell.
Yes, thank you. And I appreciate that. And I do think that'll be, I guess what it goes back to is we're still saying, don't you worry, Hamblen County will pick it up. You put it out there, by golly, and you've got it over here, and you've got your twigs, and you've got your couch, the broken fan. You know, that's, you know, I just, I hope in our brochure that we say, we're the only county. The only. And this bulk waste business, if, you know, I hope we're still saying Barry Poole's group will pick it up. So, I appreciate that. I understand what you're saying, and by golly, there ought to be a couple of feet between each little pile, and we'll see how it goes. But thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
Mr. Chairman, this is a work in progress, so
Yes,
it's gonna, we can change it as we go if we see
Okay.
something that needs to be.
Thank you.
I think we all agree we're going to continue work on it. Okay, let's get back. Is anybody else having a point of discussion where we're at? So let's get back to cleaning up the amendment from Mr. Harville and the verbiage that Commissioner Walker has asked to be added. So let's clean that up, please.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I think Commissioner Walker has a perfect thing here. Let's just take trash out of that.
Okay? So the,
You know, really, trash should not be put
okay,
at the side of the road like that.
okay,
And that rule is already in place,
right.
so that's not anything that we have to worry about.
Yes, yeah, he's amending
Yes.
yeah. We've not
Yes, so
voted on that yet, so, that's correct. So, all right, so we have an amendment outside of, the first amendment that Mr. Doty made, the date. We are now amending the 10B to discontinue county pickup of brush bulk waste if it's not separated. Everybody understand the amendment here? Any questions? Let's vote this amendment off the board, please.
Debbie Ahern,
Yes.
Chris Cutshaw,
Yes.
Thomas Doty,
Yes.
Edna Green,
Yes.
Stan Harville,
Yes.
Bobby Hahn,
Aye.
Tim Horner,
Yes.
Peggy Howell,
Yes.
Rodney Long,
Yes.
Mike Reed,
Yes.
Mike Richardson,
Yes.
Kyle Walker.
Yes.
12.
Okay, that amendment passes. We will now take up the original motion on 10B, and it will read, discontinue county pickup of brush, bulk waste, if not separated, effective September the 1st, 2023.
I'll put that in form for motion.
We've already got that motion and second, and you did make that motion.
Thank you.
So any other discussion on this item? Let's vote this motion. It'll be on the board.
Yea, 0 nay.
That motion passes. Thank you, Commissioners, working through that.
That's all I have, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, sir. Now we'll move to item 11, Public Services Committee. Chairman Richardson, you are recognized.
Thank you, sir. Statement of understanding, 11A, Statement of Understanding of Noise Ordinance, option number 3, and I put that in the form of a motion.
We have a motion, and we do have a second. Is there any discussion on this understanding of noise, statement of understanding? Any discussion? Seeing none, let's vote this motion, please.
11 yea, 1 nay.
And that motion passes. All right, that concludes that part. Commissioners, let's clean up a couple. Is there any, all minds clear? Does anyone have anything they need to add or discuss? Okay, seeing none, let's go over a couple of housekeeping items. Your budget book is before you. You are welcome to take that book with you. It will be needed back here on May the 23rd, our first budget hearing. Everybody got their calendar in front of them? Our first budget hearing in this room at 5 o'clock on May the 23rd. Please have your budget book. If you do not wish to take your budget book with you, as I said, we'll have our first hearing and start going over it on that Tuesday night. You're free to leave it here and not take it with you tonight. That said, our next commission meeting, our committees will meet, well, budget hearing meetings, yeah. May the 23rd and May the 30th at 5 o'clock in this courtroom. Then we move to June, our budget schedule. You should have that, June the 1st, June the 6th, and June the 8th. Our committee meeting in June will be June the 12th. And then our next commission meeting, June the 22nd at 5 o'clock. All minds clear? We are adjourned.